Welcome everyone to a special episode of the Forged by Trust podcast. I'm your host, Robin Dreeke, and I'm honored to be hosting this special event with Shaya Rees, Frum, Dan Hoffman, and his 12-year-old son, Jaron, in honor of the memory of Jessie Rees and Kim Hoffman, who would have celebrated her 43rd birthday today, July 5th. And Kim passed away last year, just 4 months shy of her 42nd birthday. We can't control cancer or its devastating effects, but as our friend Dan Hoffman said in an earlier show, we can control how we grieve. We can take action to care for those impacted by it. We can be of service to each other and be a cure for a bad day for kids fighting cancer. This episode is emotional, but also inspiring because we can all come together to support each other in the toughest of times. Dan's son Jaron will share his story of his mother's battle with cancer and why he has chosen to support the Jessie Rees Foundation and never, ever give up. I urge everyone to go to the show notes, click the link in Jaron's donation page, read his compelling and heart-wrenching story, and make a difference and support us stuffing joy jars this coming October so we can cure a bad day for a child fighting cancer. Our call to action is very simple. Spread the message and help us stuff joy jars. So I'm going to start out with Shaya's introduction and Shaya's story. So Shaya is first and foremost Jessie's big sister and the Jessie Rees Foundation engagement coordinator, where she gets to honor Jessie by producing joy jar stuffing events. And we're going to talk more about that later on the road and speaking about her sister to various corporate and community groups. So with that, Shaya, why don't you tell us your origin story, where this came from, and a little bit about your little sister?
Yes. So I am so proud to be Jessie's big sister. I love that it is a part of everything I do. I think it's become such an amazing way to honor my sister. So we'll take it back to 2011 when this all kind of started. I was a competitive swimmer like Jaron is, and we were actually at a swim meet. For me, my siblings, of course, had to come, and my sister and my dad were just walking around, and my dad noticed that my sister would walk straight, but her face would be looking like she was like looking in the window somewhere else. She kept doing this, and it was super odd. And my dad was like, "Hey, Jess, like, look at me." And she looked at him, but she was still like diagonal. Right. But in her mind, she was looking straight at him. And that was like our very first glimpse into something might be off. Other than that, she was completely fine. And so that led to a plethora of tests. My parents taking her to eye doctor first, and then pediatrician, and then being redirected to Children's Hospital of Orange County, which is near where we live in Southern California.
And Shay, I'm so sorry to interrupt. How old was Jessie at this time, and how old were you?
So I was in 8th grade, and I am 2 years older than my sister. So she was in 6th grade.
Wow.
And this was about February of 2011. So February 2011, quickly, lots of tests came, and March 3rd, 2011 is when my parents were told by the doctors at CHOC, "We are so sorry, your daughter has cancer." And my parents were told at the time that we would have 12 to 18 months with my sister based off of her diagnosis, which was DIPG, which the long word is a diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, which is a brain tumor. Her brain tumor was basically like a girl will braid her hair. This brain tumor was basically braided within my sister's brainstem. And because that is the hub of how we live, you can't really touch that. And there was no cures for this specific brain tumor. And it's very risky to even just biopsy it. Not very many doctors are willing to do it. And my dad actually went and sourced 42 second opinions, trying to find somebody who would tell him that this isn't the case, that somebody's off, this isn't true. And so March 3rd, 2011 completely changed my family's life. I remember sitting down after school, my brother and I, and my parents were like, "Just so you guys know, like, we know Jessie's been having a lot of tests and everything, and Jessie was diagnosed with cancer." And they've left it they were to the point, but they also didn't really go into a lot of detail because I was in 8th grade, and I think my brother might have been in 4th grade. And so they didn't want us freaking out. They wanted to kind of protect us a little bit, like any great parent will try to do. And I never knew there was a timeline on my sister's life based off what she was diagnosed. My parents were very much, we are in this together. We are fighting this. We are going to do whatever it takes. We are going to support one another. And there is hope. We will hope and pray that we will find a cure and that something good will come out of this. And I feel like that kind of just set the foundation for the way that my family was going to battle this and take this on. And so I wasn't there for a lot of Jessie's beginning experiences with fighting cancer because I was still in school. So was my brother. We'd still go to swim practice afterwards. I felt like I lived a very normal life. And because the blessing of my sister being treated outpatient, she didn't have to go stay at the hospital for days, months, years, whatever for treatment. She'd go in on like a Thursday, get her treatment, go to radiation, come home. And that would all happen when I was at school. And so I never watched a lot of that, which I think also helped us just kind of feel like we're good. We're in this, like, I didn't have to peek behind the curtain too much in a way.
Shaya, I keep seeing an amazing trend in every guest I have on, no matter what the challenge in life.
Yeah.
And that is, you said the most important thing that sets that tone like your parents did, and that is something good will come out of this.
Yeah.
And I think that for anyone listening, tuning in, that is so critical when you're battling, as Dan says, life's wickedly complex challenges.
Yeah.
You can't feel the victim. You can control some things and you will gain greatness out of it somewhere. Anyway, continue.
My sister, during her treatment, when she was in the car on the way home from the hospital one day, she asked my parents, so when do all the other kids get to come home? Because she would go into the hospital. Obviously you see there's kids there. Kids would go into treatment with her, but then there were kids that were there for much longer. And my dad pointed to chalk and said, unfortunately, not every child is like you, Jess. Some kids will spend days. Some kids will spend weeks, months. Some treatment plans last years. And it depends on their cancer and what they're doing. And she asked my dad right after that and said, well, how can we help them? What can we do to make an impact? Was basically, she wanted to do something. My parents got home, didn't think she was really serious about anything. They were having a meeting and my sister just started filling brown paper lunch bags with some of her toys that she would find in the house, wrote notes on the outside. My parents started seeing her do this and they're like, okay, you like actually are serious about wanting to do something. Let's go talk to the hospital. So went and talked to the hospital to figure out like the right parameters, because obviously her used toys and brown paper bags aren't going to cut it. So we transitioned to new hospital approved toys in these plastic jars. And my family sat around and my dad was like, well, what are we going to call these? And my sister's middle name was Joy. And so Joy jars just kind of like blended together perfectly. And that's where it all started. And the original Joy Factory was in our garage. And to be honest, my parents were just doing this to give Jessie something to do because she found so much joy and purpose in it. Yes. And their focus wasn't really on, oh my gosh, I'm going to help all the other kids. Their focus was, no, I'm going to help my daughter. And because helping Jessie meant that she wanted to do something to help others, it just kind of grew and expanded from there. And
I mean, service. I mean, there's no greater therapy in the world than being of service. And Jessie 100%. Found it. And she asked that critical question again, that positivity. She never once did you use that word. Why did this happen? Why is this going on? She said, what can I do for others? What a great question.
Yeah.
Being of service. Jaron, that brings me to you. You are being of great service with what you're doing and supporting the Jessie Rees Foundation. So Jaron, tell me your story. What happened with you and your mom and your whole family?
So ever since my mom was diagnosed with cancer in 2016, I was really young at the time. And for a couple of years or so, I thought that it would get better and that she would be cured of cancer. And one day, she actually almost passed away in the hospital, but she just barely made a recovery. And we had just a few more months to spend time with her. But then in March 2021, she passed away, and then we had her funeral. It was a really sad thing for me because she was my mom. She took care of me. She cooked breakfast for me every morning. She took me to school. And now it's just my dad doing it.
So Jaron, you obviously are doing the support for the Jessie Rees Foundation for a reason. What was that reason?
Well, my dad asked if I wanted to do the cure or the care. The cure is like, it's millions of dollars going into it. It's not going to work right now. It's not going to save anyone right now. It'll take many years to find the right cure. But if you just raise a few $1,000s, you can give kids joy jars, and that helps already.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Wow, what a great way to face things. You can alleviate some of the struggles and pains of someone today with what you do. So take an action. Grant, that brings us to you. Tell us about the foundation and how people can make a difference.
Absolutely. So I'm the director of community development here. I had the privilege of growing up with this lady here, as well as Jessie. We have been family friends for a really long time. So this is really special for me to be a part of it and carry out Jessie's mission and legacy. And every day, the Jessie Rees Foundation tries to cure bad days for kids fighting cancer and their families. I think the cool part about Jessie's mission and her legacy and what she wanted to do was just how much care and intentionality goes into it. And when you go to a joy jar, we actually brought one. But when you
Awesome.
go to a joy jar, her biggest thing about the joy jar was that joy window looks really good. And that says a lot about her. It says a lot about her intentionality, her care, but also just the quality that goes into the work that we do. And so what Jaron's decided to do is an amazing thing. So thank you so much, Jaron. You are helping cure so many bad days for these families moving ahead. And we're so excited for October. It's going to be here before we know it. But what we're doing with Jaron and the fundraiser is stuffing joy jars to be able to send to hospitals and homes. And so the idea of Jessie realized there was kids that had to stay in the hospital. And so one of our main things that we do is ship joy jars to hospitals all over the United States and even internationally. We've been able to ship to 51 different countries in every state of the United States. So this foundation has really grown, and Jessie's legacy is definitely carried through all the corporations we work with, the community groups that we work with. And it's because of people like Jaron that we get to keep doing what we do. But we are sending these jars to hospitals and homes that we're going to be stuffing with the Hoffman family out in Virginia. And the whole idea of the joy jar is really to create a relationship with the family. This foundation is generated around us sending joy jars to families, but then getting them to sign up for a program that we have called Club Nigu. Club Nigu is where they get monthly boosts of joy to be able to be sent straight to their doorstep, letting them know that there's that third-party community group out there that really does care for them and want to encourage them to never, ever give up. So we have lots of programs, but the main thing that we get to do here is to really cure bad days and love on these families that are going through quite the battle.
And Grant, you said Nigu. What does Nigu stand for?
Nigu means never, ever give up. And I love your logo behind you there.
Thanks. Yeah. For those that are just listening and not tuning in, I have the never, ever give up logo behind me, and they held up the joy jar. Dan, I know Jaron just stepped away for a second. What would you think was one of his best memories of his mom?
You know, he's got a lot of memories of his mom. I'll tell you one that was really special to me. She always wanted to get out and do fun things, and she could make anything fun. If you want to go for a coffee at the local Starbucks, she would make that fun. My kids at night, you know, when she was putting them to bed and they'd be watching a movie because she'd find one that they both would like, it was milk and a show. It was a special time for both of them. Christmas was her favorite holiday, and so Christmas of December 2019, we thought she had beaten cancer, as Jaron said. And so she made reservations at a hotel for Christmas. It was like a Christmas hotel. And they had, you know, like sledding and ice skating and gosh, all sorts of wonderful Christmas things that she loved. And she took the kids out ice skating. And she was recovering, you know, from her second liver resection. and all just cumulatively massive, they call it treatment for cancer. It's just more like exposing your body, subjecting your body to just attack on the cancer, which is attacking your body as well. And she was weak from it. But she went out there and went ice skating with our kids. And when I think about her and I think about our kids and I think about the joy she brought to them, she didn't let our kids know how bad she felt. I knew it because she was wiped out afterwards, but she went out and went ice skating with our kids and had hot chocolate afterwards. And, that's just one of many memories. But honestly, every day we had a host of these memories that continue to mean so much to us. And we remember her. We remember, my kids and I talk about, the stories the memories that we have together. It means the world to us. My heart breaks for the Rees family, but I'm also comforted to know that we're all kind of in this together, and I was going to tell you that, I studied Russian, and the joy of studying Russian was eventually to be able to read Russian literature in Russian. And the opening lines of Anna Karenina are that essentially in English, it's every happy family resembles one another and every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. And forever, I believed that until my wife got cancer. And I realized there are all these other people who have got family or friends. And it's a different kind of cancer. It's a different kind of situation, but we're all unhappy and we're unhappy in the same way. And we get so much support and we get so much inspiration from one another. There's no family that inspires me any more than the Rees family. God bless all of you. You gave us an opportunity to honor my wife's memory and do that, while we all grieve together. And that's one of the greatest gifts I swear my kids and I will ever have.
Thank you for that.
I was going to ask the question, so what did you do every day to never, ever give up? But you just said it. I mean, just how you live every day is what you do every day to never, ever give up. Shay and Grant, same thing. What do you do every day to never, ever give up?
Yeah, I mean, I want to bounce off what Dan just said, because I think there was a key piece in there that everyone and whoever's listening can take from this, but the sense of community and the sense of support, and the Hoffman family have a huge community, huge support system. And I know the Rees family firsthand has a huge community and support system. And I don't know that maybe these both families, and even for myself, I never ever give up means having such a strong community that you can lean on people and that you can go to people in times of difficulties and good times as well. But just like the Rees family gave him a reason to chase after cancer and to cure some of their bad days. And I truly believe that these two families are alive and well today because of that, and because of the sense of community and trust that's built by that. And we really strive for that based on our families too, and encouraging them to never ever give up, giving them a community of support through the foundation, building a level of trust so that these families can lean on us and be encouraged to never ever give up. Shaya too, like what did you mean to Jessie, and what does it mean for you to carry out in your life?
I think it's truly given, a lot of purpose. It's really redirected. And I think at the end of the day, I've really come to realize life is very simple. It's the people that you have around you, the people that you love, that you can care for, the relationships you have, that you can take everything else away, in my mind. And that is what truly means the world. And if we can be community to other people, and if we can lean on other people, and we want to walk alongside people and celebrate the good moments, and also be able to just sit there and listen and hold in the grief, because also the grieving process never ends. Right. And I think that that's something that 10 years later, I'm still grieving. And what's been so beautiful about having this opportunity is that I get to talk about my sister and keep her alive, because she will forever be alive to me and in my life, if that makes sense. But so many other people, it's hard. The grief process is so hard because it's like a move on situation a lot of times, because a lot of people who haven't walked through grief don't understand it. And I watched this amazing TED Talk once, and it was just saying that you don't move on from grief. You move forward and you carry that person with you for the rest of your life. And talking about a family member who's passed away or anything like that, and getting to bring light and bring life to Kim's story too, and get to honor both of them in such an incredible way just truly means the world to me. And the fact that we get to meet incredible families who were given a very unfortunate situation like us, but we're not letting that define us. We're stepping up and doing something with it to help others and to also help ourselves, because like you said, service is one of the greatest ways that you can kind of also heal yourself in a way. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt. Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is powerful, extremely powerful. But, as much as we talk about this, me and him and his brother, it's hard. You're right. We grieve every day. And I went through this a little bit when I was in Iraq for a year. I was serving at the CIA. We lost somebody and we had to carry on with our mission. We were grieving for our friend and our colleague whom we lost. And it was, we remember him, we grieved for him, and we carried on with our mission. This is taking it to another level entirely. And, but this is how we deny cancer's, just ruthless attack on us to steal away our hearts and our souls and our minds. Cancer will never take those things. That's what Jim Valvano said, at that great ESPY speech. I've watched that speech so many times, and Stuart Scott's speech. They're so inspirational. But, cancer never took my wife's heart, soul, or mind. It's not going to take ours either, because we're the ones who are going to take control of what we can control. And we're going to be inspired from others, and we're going to hopefully will inspire others as well to do good works. And that's kind of how we go forward.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. To sit here and get choked up multiple times throughout this and hold it together, it's a challenge. But at the same time, Shaya, as you said at the very beginning, something good will come of this. I'm sitting here listening to two families that were devastated by cancer, and they did something about it. You are touching and have touched so many lives that wouldn't have been touched otherwise. And that's the power of it. And that's where you do what Dan says. You can't control cancer, but you can control how you grieve. Life is a group of situations that come together. And what are you going to do about it?
Embrace the unexpected, brother. That's
absolutely.
What we all do.
There is no
None
call.
of us could have predicted any of this.
No SOP for chaos.
Yeah. You don't expect Jessie Rees to get cancer at age 11. I didn't expect my wife to get cancer in her 30s.
Yeah.
But you embrace the unexpected and then, you deal with it. That's it,
Yeah. Great message for hope for everyone listening and tuning in. I hope it inspired you to know that no matter what you're going through, if these folks can go through what they went through and still make a difference in the world, still get up every day with a smile on their face, knowing that they will make a difference, so can you. And the best way to do that is to get on, click the link, make a donation, be part of the community, making a difference in someone else's life, and bring a little joy to everyone. With that, I want to thank you, Dan, Shaya, Grant, and Jaron. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and thanks for sharing your great stories.
Of course.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this special Independence Day episode where we honored the lives of Kim Hoffman and Jessie Rees, who lost their courageous battles with cancer and modeled the way for us all to live by giving and serving others. Please go to the show notes, click the link to the fundraising page of Kim's son Jaron, and be part of the cure for a bad day for a child fighting cancer. Remember, we can change the world one podcast at a time, and never, ever give up. Please tune in next week for an exciting and informative episode with my two most popular guests, the amazing Joe Navarro and insightful Abby Morano, together sharing insights on life and behavior.